Hi students, welcome back from spring break. By the time you watch this video, it'll be April 20th, which is a Monday, and our first YouTube math video. So hang in there with me, and if you have questions, please leave a comment down below or send me an email. And I'm sorry if my dogs bark because they need lots of attention and they tend to bark a lot. So I'm sorry about that. I will try and be as clear as I can. So when you open up the attachment for April 20th, Math Monday, you're going to see a Google form. And the first thing you're going to want to do is put your first and your last name on it. So that way I know who is responding and what it means. The first question asks us to simplify or reduce the fraction 4/12. Simplify and reduce mean the same things. They want you to do the same thing. So you want to find a number that will divide into both of these evenly without a remainder. There's a couple ways you can go about it. I know that 4 will go into 4, and so I have to figure out, will 4 go into 12? So 4, 8, 12. If we divide by 4, we divide by 4. It's just like saying this as well. 4 divided by 4 and 12 divided by 4. 4 goes into 4 one time. 4 goes into 12. 4, 8, 12 3 times. Your reduced answer is 1/3. And that is what you will mark on your Google form. So I'm looking at the Google form on my phone. That's why I keep looking down. And then we're asked to simplify this fraction. 5/3. Now, hopefully you're thinking to yourself, my numerator is bigger than my denominator. That means I'm going to be able to pull out a large, big 1. Now, there are 2 ways you can do this. The first way is just to take out big 1s until you can't take them out anymore. So a large 1 for this would be, a large 1 would equal 3/3. So we can subtract 3/3. That's our large 1. 5 minus 3 is 2. Remember, when we subtract fractions, we don't mess with the denominator, as long as it's the same. Thirds. The second method, which is the method I think you guys like a little bit more, is to take your numerator as your dividend, because all fractions is division, and divide it by your denominator. 3 goes into 5 one time. 3 times 1 is 3, leaving us with a remainder of 2. Your remainder becomes your new numerator, right here, and your denominator stays your divisor. So we have 1 2/3 here and 1 2/3 here. 2 ways to get the same answer. Whatever way you like is perfectly fine. All right, now we're going to do some decimal work. I know it's been a while since we've done that. But like I said, most all the math will be review of what we already did. Maybe at the end of May I'm going to do a little bit on volume. So we're going to multiply 1.45 times 3.8. Now remember, multiplying decimals, you just multiply it like regular. You almost ignore the decimals when you're figuring it out. Okay? It's when you add and subtract decimals that they need to be lined up. Sorry, my foot's falling asleep. So 8 times 5 is 40. 8 times 4 is 32. Plus 4 is 36. 8 times 1 is 8. Plus 3 is 11. And then go ahead and cross those out or erase them or whatever you want to do, because we're done. Now that we've moved over into this ones column, our answer here is going to have to line up. So 3 times 5 is 15. 3 times 4 is 12, plus 1 is 13. 3 times 1 is 4, plus 1, 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. Now we're going to add them together. So, if you want to put a 0 here, you can. It just means 0. 0 plus 0 is 0. This is 11. This is going to be 5. And this is going to be 5. So, now, where do we put the decimal point, right? In multiplication, you need to count the spaces to the right of the decimal. So start at the decimal, 1, 2. You have 2 places here. Here, you have 1 place. 2 plus 1 is 3. So you have 3 total places out of both numbers to the right of the decimal point. So you're going to start over here at the end of your whole number, and you're going to come over 3 places, giving you 5.51. Now, you could put a 0 here, but you could put 1,000 zeros on here, and is it going to change the value of it? It's not going to change the value of it. So that is perfectly fine as your answer. Okay, next, we're going to divide some decimals. So we've got our divisor is 24 hundredths, and we're going to divide that into 912 thousandths. Okay? Now, the most important part about this is that you can never have a decimal in your divisor. So you need to make it a whole number. And whatever you do to the outside, you do to the inside. So if I move 2 places here, I'm going to move 2 places there. I'm going to rewrite this so it looks a little more clean. Now remember, your decimal point is going to come straight up. So 24 doesn't go into 0, 24 doesn't go into 9, but 24 does go into 91. So I have to figure out how many times. Now I might have to try a couple different numbers to make sure I'm close. So we've got 24. I'm going to start with by 3. And that's going to give me 12, 6. Okay, that's going to give me 72. That's close. Let's see if I can do 24 times 4. 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 2 is 8. Oh, 96. So that's too much. So it's got to be this 3 here. So 24 times 3 is 72. And then we're going to subtract. You can't take 2 from 1, so we're going to regroup from here. 11 minus 2 is 9. And 8 minus 7 is 1. And then we're going to bring down the 2. Now we have to figure out how many times 24 is going to go into 92. So I already figured out that 24 times 4 was 96. So I'm thinking 24 times 7. So I'm going to try that. It's going to be 28. 7 times 2 is 14, 15, 16. 168 is close. Let's try 8, though, just to be sure. It's going to be 32, 16, 17, 18, 19. Ooh, that's closer. Look at that. Look at that. Okay, so I know that 24 times 8 is 192, leaving me with a big old 0, meaning I'm done. So you'll enter 3.8 into the space, into the short answer space. Next problem is addition of decimals. Okay, so we've got 7, 4, 3, and 89 hundredths plus, now here's the thing, when you're adding decimals, the decimal point has to line up. So it's often easier to write the decimal point first and then write your number around it. So we're adding it to 32 and 4/10. Okay? Now, if you need to put a 0 here, that's fine. Put a 0 there. Make sure everything stays lined up because this decimal point is going to come straight down. Give yourself space here. Don't write your numbers all squished together because you're going to get confused. All right, 9 plus 0 is 9. 8 plus 4 is 12. Ooh. 3 plus 2 is 5. 5 plus 1 is 6. 4, 5, 6, 7. And then if you need a 0 here, it's just like putting a 0. 7 plus 0 is 7. So your grand total is 776 and 29 hundredths. Now it's going to be subtraction of decimals. So we have 300, I'm going to write it nice and big with space in between so I can keep it all lined up. 345 and 4/10 minus, put your decimal point first, because remember, it's going to line up. Addition, subtraction, you got to line them up. Minus 43 and 8/10. If you need to fill this in with the 0, do it. If you don't have to. You just know, blank spot, 0. So I know I can't take 8 from 4. I'm going to have to regroup from this ones place. 8 minus 14 is going to be 6. Or 14 minus 8 is going to be 6. 4 minus 3 is 1. 4 minus 4 is 0. 3 minus 0 is 3. And this decimal point comes straight down, like an arrow. Don't move it around. Don't put it in a different place. There you go. Okay, choose the correct symbol to fill in the blank. So we've got a, let's see, a less than, greater than, or equal to. And we're comparing decimals. So we're going to take 4.4 and 38 hundredths. And then 4 and 39 hundredths. And the way to really do this is to, is to go by place value. So you start all the way on the left. 4, 4, that's equal. 3/10 and 3/10, that's equal. Okay? Here you have 8 hundredths, not thousands, 8 hundredths, and here you have 9 hundredths. So which one is bigger? 9. 9 is bigger than 8. So 4.39 is greater than 4.38. Capiche? Good. Choose the correct symbol to fill in the blank. So your options are less than, greater than, or equal to. And this time we're going to compare fractions. Now I'm not going to make you do the super hard way because many of you already tortured with that in 4th grade. But we've got 2/3 and 2/10. The easiest way to compare fractions is using the butterfly method. And that's where you multiply these, and which is 3 times 2 is 6, and you multiply these. 10 times 2 is 20. Which number is bigger? If 20 is bigger than 6, that means that 2/3 is greater than 2/10. Now when you're marking your answer, Make sure you've got that big mouthpiece facing the 2/3. Evaluate the expression using good old PEMDAS, which is please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Okay? Parentheses, exponent, multiply or divide, because remember we go from left to right, and then add and subtract. So our expression is 38 plus 10 divided by 12 plus 52. So when we look at PEMDAS, we know that we're going to have to do whatever is in the parentheses first. So 38 plus 10 is 48. Now I know many of you don't like to rewrite the equation, but it's real important that you rewrite the equation because then you get confused. So now you have 48 divided by 12 plus 52. Okay, so now I've gotten rid of my parentheses. I don't have any exponents, so I'm going to skip that. Now I'm going to multiply or divide. Well, we do have some division here. So 12, you can even work it out, 48 divided by 12. 12, 24, 36, 48. So 48 divided by 12 is 4. Then if you rewrite it, then you just have 4 plus 52, which is going to give you a grand total. 4 plus 2 is 6, so 56. You can also write this out. If you need to write it like this, that's fine too. However you see it, however it works. Okay? Good. Our next problem is a word problem. So 1/2 of the garden is tomatoes and 1/3 of the garden is carrots. How much of the garden is tomatoes and carrots? I'm going to draw a picture and I'll also just do the addition. So it's asking us to add up, and the reason we know that in the problem is because it says how much of the garden is tomatoes and carrots. So if you picture this as the garden, 1/2 of it is tomatoes. And 1/3 of it is carrots? Carrots. 1/3 of it's carrots. So how much of the garden is both? And we have 1/2 and 1/3. You can use the model very easily to figure it out, but I also want to show you how to do it this way. So, can we add fractions that don't have a common denominator? So we have to figure out, how do we make these the same? What is a common factor for these? So I might just start by listing it out. 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay. Now I'm going to count by threes. 3, 6. Ooh, look at that. So I know that 6 is a common factor. So how do I make a 2 into a 6? Times it by 3. Whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top. 1 times 3 is 3. 2 times 3 is 6. How do I turn a 3 into a 6? I turn a 3 into a 6 by timesing it by 2. Whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top, always. 1 times 2 is 2. 3 times 2 is 6. So now we have common denominators. Now we can add them together. Okay? 3 plus 2 is 5, 6. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Now we are asked to find the sum. Sum means add, of 3/10 plus 2/5. Now, can I add these together if my denominators are not the same? No. No, I cannot. So I have to think. I can either skip count, or if I'm really good at my multiplication tables, I know that I can turn a 5 into a 10 to match this. How do I make a 5 into a 10? Times it by 2. Whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top. So now I have 3/10 plus 4/10 gives me 4 plus 3 is 7. 7/10. And I know I can't reduce this because 2 will go into 10, but it won't go into 7. 3 won't go into either of them. 5 doesn't work. 7 goes into 7, but 7 doesn't go into 10. So I know that that's the lowest I can go. All right, our final question. Woohoo! Final question's another addition problem. For fractions, it's 7/8 plus 2/4. Now, I can skip count 4, 8, 12, 16, 8, but I know that I can make this 4 into an 8 to match. So I want to find that common denominator. And how do I make a 4 into an 8? Times it by 2. Whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top. So I have 7/8 plus 4/8 gives me 7 plus 4 is 11. 8. Ooh, what's up with this though? Right, our numerator is bigger than our denominator. So we're going to have to reduce it. And I think I'm just going to reduce it the way you guys like it, by doing it like this. You can take out the big ones. You can do it that way. If that's the way you like it, do it that way. 8 goes into 11 one time. Subtract. 11 minus 8 is 3. You take whatever your remainder is, and that becomes your new numerator. Your denominator is always your divisor. So I've got 1 and 3/8. I can't reduce this anymore. That's my answer. That's it.